Usually sometimes when you're going through these things, we happen to blame ourselves.
That's true.
But what I realized was these people who were bullying.
Sorry, mate. Quiet. My alarm for my nap.
But like I realized that people who do things to hurt other people, they also hurt.
That's so hurt people.
Hurt people. Yes.
If they hurt you, they hurt. They actually hurt.
Because and then I also realized, well, we didn't talk about heartbreaks, but like
talk about that another time.
No, but like I'm trying to say, I don't want to get into it.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I have my good friend Lakadia here and my twin sister Beatrice, and we're going to be talking about traumatic experiences and like past hurts that happen in people's lives, and kind of give some input and some strategies of ways that we can kind of deal with past hurts and like traumatic experiences that we all go through in life. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so first question, what are past hurts or traumatic experiences that people can go through in life, like people kind of experience?
Bullying, especially in high school.
That's true.
It was real for me in high school. It was, and racism.
Especially right now.
Especially right now.
For people, sometimes it can be like abuse. It could be like sexually, psychologically, emotionally. It could be even like divorce in a family, or like the loss of a parent or something. Like I feel like anything like that can lead to like past hurt or traumatic experiences definitely in people's lives. Definitely, like what you said, I've heard so many stories of people like being raped, and nobody ever knows about it. Nobody ever hears about it, because obviously that's like a really sensitive past hurt that no one really wants to talk about sometimes,
especially with like family members.
That's so true. So quiet,
because like most people who've been raped by family, they're scared to talk about it. Because and then they feel like no one will believe
it's the shame, and like domestic violence as well, like she was saying, and there's all sorts of traumatic experiences that people go through, but that aren't always talked about, you know. How can traumatic experiences sometimes affect our lives?
From my experience, I feel like being bullied.
I
thought we had a microphone.
We have a microphone, but you can't loud enough. From my experience, no, you can't speak loud. No, look how far the microphone is.
I'm gonna buy you a big one for Christmas.
Thank you very much. That'd be nice. From your experiences, Lakadia?
From my experience, bullying affected my confidence, and like I felt like I was not good enough, and like I felt like I could not belong, kind of a thing. So it just kind of affected how I looked at life. Like I stopped trying with life. I stopped even trying to look after myself. I was like, what's the point, you know?
What kind of bullying, Lakadia?
Like when we first came to Australia, there were not that many Africans. So when we started school, you know how they used to give you like a buddy, someone who will show you around for like 2 days, and then after that, you know, people just started whispering, and like nobody wanted to talk to me. So I was just kind of like, okay. But then eventually I caught up with it because I was different. I was the first year 8 black person
at C10.
Yes. And
we went there, girl. Sorry, we couldn't.
I feel like you guys also went through the same phase.
Similar,
because I remember when you guys came and
talked about it.
Yes, we talked about it. So it was quite hard, and then I just felt like maybe because, you know, I'm a different color, blah blah blah. So,
and that's the thing, hey, like sometimes literally like growing up in a different country,
it's
like
hard.
and then having experienced a way different environment when you were like in the other country can actually make it can make it very difficult for you to actually like assimilate and kind of integrate within the new environment, and then and that affects how you even just your everyday life, like how you said, it affects your confidence.
Because you're adjusting. Because for us, it was like new language, new culture, new environment. And I started like school a week as soon as I got in Australia. So I didn't have enough time to really like adjust.
Yeah, that's so true. Wow. And Precious, what do you think? Like, what are from experiences that you've had, or
personally for
stories
me,
you've heard?
I feel like I'm gonna probably speak more from stories I've heard. Because I deal a lot with mental health related stuff because of my work.
She's an OT, guys, so she knows about this stuff.
She knows what she's talking about. So I'm just gonna speak generally though, because obviously like this is people's personal stories. But I feel like a lot of people that have gone through like trauma as a kid, whether it's like sexual abuse or someone that has have not had a father there growing up because of whatever reason, or like a divorce that's happened in the family, whatever it is, a lot of the time that actually affects them. And even though it's not shown like physically, emotionally, they have some kind of hurt, some kind of pain, and then it doesn't show up when they're young, maybe, or maybe it does, you just never know. But a lot of the times when you're growing up, you're focusing on like trying to grow up and kind of thing, and you don't really focus on the things that are inside of you. But then when you become like a teenager or in your 20s, when you start to actually like become more self-aware about your emotions and things that are going on inside of you, you start to realize, oh, actually, like, I react a lot in this way. Maybe it might be like anger, or like you have outbursts, or you like don't give anyone a minute to explain whatever. You're like, okay, well, you want to fight straight away. It's like you have outbursts and you have different reactions to certain triggers, and you don't even know why. You're like, why am I even acting the way I'm acting? But it's because of that past hurt, and people's lives are affected in that way. In that the emotional pain, the emotional hurt is not is not shown, and you don't know why you're acting the way you're acting, but there's a reason behind your behavior. Is because of something that is triggered inside of you. And a lot of the times it can affect people's relationships, because it's like now you don't know how to relate to people because you're too busy just reacting out of your hurt. But and it's sad too sometimes, because you actually don't know that you're hurt and that you actually need to seek healing,
and people don't know that as well. People don't know the kind of past hurts that you have been through, and the reason why you're even acting the way that you're acting.
And sometimes you don't even know. Sometimes you don't even know. But I think that's how you can start to know, like when you're becoming aware of yourself, and you're like, oh, actually, why do I get so angry, like when someone triggers me, or when someone does something to me? Is it because I was really angry at this past reason, and then now I'm just kind of letting it out on everyone else? It's kind of like you have to become more self-aware and become more like, oh, all right, well, obviously I need to focus on this area, and maybe I'm hurt here and I need healing. But I feel like that's how sometimes it can present in people's life later on in life. After the
definitely, like how they lash out and how they behave,
it's like outbursts and stuff. It's just a cry for help a lot of the times.
Just, like from what I've seen and like just experiences that I've heard of, people telling me stories and stuff, it's usually like, especially with like physical or like sexual abuse, most of the time they find it really, really difficult to even relate. For example, when they get married and stuff, even with their husband, like they find it really difficult to relate, and it causes problems. And like unless that traumatic experience is actually dealt with, a lot of the time it's hard, and you don't know where it's stemming from, but sometimes it's that, sometimes it's that, and then you have to deal with it, because if you don't deal with it, like it's constantly going to be there, and you're not going to understand why.
I feel like the two main areas that this thing will affect you, actually maybe three. The first of all, if you don't deal with past hurts or traumas that you've experienced, number one, it's gonna hurt you, because you always be in pain. It might most likely will be emotionally, like in your mind and in your thoughts. Definitely. And then number two, it's gonna hurt your relationship with other people, because a lot of the times you're gonna find it hard to relate to someone else because of whatever reason, because of whatever it is that you're going through. And after that, probably like affect your community as well, because obviously you're not going to be effective, and you're not going to be relating, you're not going to be networking if you in yourself you're not well. And definitely, I think that's the kind of things that it can lead to. Really.
Like with what Akade was saying as well, like if you're young and for example you come to Australia, and obviously this is not where you were born, and then you grow up here,
it's hard, man.
Even with friends, like at school, like it's so important that we know ourselves, and we know, okay, like obviously these are areas that we're struggling in, and because it affects your socializing, like for example, like boy, we're not gonna lie here, man, coming from like struggling. It was a struggle, hey, it was
to make friends,
not only that, but like coming from
the
like
language barrier,
That's so true.
Because, you know, we knew basic.
Yeah, you know, basic English.
And coming, literally, like, coming from, like, countries where sometimes it's war-torn, sometimes it's, like, there's trauma that you've experienced, all sorts of traumas that you experience. When you come here, it's different, and you're having to learn everything from a whole new, like, perspective, and having to really, like, understand and like learn the culture and like fit into the culture as well. Like sometimes all of that as well can really affect even just your schooling.
Like, and then add to the pressure that first of all you're like a teenager, you're trying to grow up, and then you already have your own issues. You're trying to find yourself, identity, all these troubles that you're actually trying to, you know, overcome.
Even mental health issues,
add a trauma to that, and then you're just there like it's a struggle. Like it's really a struggle.
Literally, but even like anxiety, depression, all this stuff sometimes
that's where they stem from.
They stem from like traumatic experiences that you have experienced. That you experienced like when you were, you know, in the past, but you never knew about it, and then you're just constantly living your everyday life.
And sometimes people do know about it, but they hide it because sometimes they're like
they suppress it.
They
kind of hide it away.
Like you said before, like say for example, like a family member abused you. Obviously, you're not gonna go tell your parents, especially in the African community. When they're like, oh no, don't say stuff like that, or like they'll blame you for whatever it is that went wrong. So people hide it because they're ashamed, because they're like, oh, if I let it out, you know, I'm gonna be in trouble, number one, or people are not gonna believe me, or you know, whatever it is, they just find that thing shameful, so they want to keep it within them.
It's sad, man. But to be honest, guys, it would be super hard to actually talk about these things, or like those are deep issues that no one's trying to like expose out there, because first of all, they'll even be afraid for themselves. They'll be what are people gonna think of me as well?
And then also to say things like this.
For themselves, and then also like what was I going to say?
Usually sometimes when you're going through these things, we happen to blame ourselves.
That's true.
But what I realized was these people who were bullying.
Sorry, mate. That was my alarm for my nap.
But like I realized that people who do things to hurt other people, they also hurt.
That's so hurt people.
Hurt people. Yes.
If they're hurting you, they hurt. They actually hurt.
Because and then I also realized, well, we didn't talk about, you know, heartbreaks, but like
talk about that another time.
No, but like, I'm trying to say, I don't want to get into it, but I'm trying to say I also realized that in my past relationships I was hurt, and when you find a good person, it's like you're hard to deal with, because somehow you start acting like that person.
That's true. You're like, someone hurt me, and I'm not gonna let you hurt me too, and then you start,
you're so aggressive.
Acting out. Yes, definitely, man.
That's so if you're hurt, you hurt other people.
But you know what though, the thing is, it's like, you can't ignore these things, because it's kind of like you actually have to come to a place where you're like, you know what, this behavior is not right. And until you come to that place, you're never gonna get well. You're never gonna get healing
you have to
from that hurt. You have to.
That comes to like the last question. Like, what are strategies or like ways or interventions that we can use to kind of deal with some of the past hurts, or like
I reckon
traumas that we actually go through?
The first one, I reckon, you have to identify it. Like, first of all, before you even get to that place where you're like, oh, actually there's something wrong, I need to fix it. You have to be like, there is something wrong. You have to come to the place where you're like, you know what, I'm not acting right. You know, my relationships, you know, I'm ruining them because of the way that I'm behaving, and I don't know why, but I'm just behaving this way. Because a lot of the times then when you get to that point where you're aware of yourself, where you're like, you know what, I see that this thing is not right in my life, I want to change it, that's when you can be like, okay, what can I do next to actually take the steps to recover and get better.
Identifying it,
identifying,
seeing what it is exactly.
Your past hurt and your trauma, you have to identify it. And sometimes you can't do that yourself as well. Sometimes you actually just you need people. Like, first of all, it could be someone, a close friend, it could be someone you really trust, it could be your mom, it could be, you know, a pastor, it could be anyone that you feel like you can confide in. You actually have to just talk to them about it. That's like, I feel like that's the first thing.
For us, all of us here, like, our faith is one of the most important things to us, because it's actually what really helps us deal with whatever traumas that we've gone through.
Because sometimes you feel like you can't tell people. Because you feel like you can't trust people.
You don't know how they're going to be.
You feel like they're going to judge you. You know, and they might react in a way that you're going to feel even more hurt. So then you're like, oh,
so you're just like, I would talk to God about it. I would just pray to God about it, and then, you know, and I feel like for us, all of us, like, that's how we've really, like, that's how it's helped. Overcome it. It's helped us, because like we've all gone through things in our lives that we're a bit like obviously upset about and hurt about, but because we've given it to God, like for us, like our burdens are light, like we don't have to stress or worry too much about anything, because we're like literally right now there's nothing that is like holding you down, because you're like, well, I've given it to God, I don't want to worry about it, I'm just going to give it to God, kind of thing.
That's true.
So
you don't always have to be strong all the time. I feel like people who are strong, and you know, for me, I feel like people always come like, oh, this and this is going on in my life, kind of a thing, and people always see me as a strong person. So I found it hard at that time to even tell people like I'm going through this. But then later on, I realized I'm also human.
That's true.
You have to tell somebody. You cannot always be strong all the time.
That's so true. Definitely, that's so true. So apart from your faith, I feel like Hadia said, talking to someone that you actually trust. But then if you really feel like you actually can't trust anyone at all, you can actually seek like professional help, like talk to a counselor or something, or even your pastor, because a lot of times obviously they have to keep information confidential. And then because a lot of the times if people actually don't talk about this stuff, it could actually lead to like mental problems, like depression, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. Stress. It really leads to it if you actually don't deal with it, if it's really that bad anyways. So I feel like it's important to seek professional help if people need it.
Yes, definitely.
That's one of the ways I reckon. So that's like 3 things, hey, now, like, well, because not everyone obviously believes in God, and not everyone has a faith, but we're just saying for like us, what helped us. But then another thing you could also do is journaling. So like writing out your thoughts, writing out your feelings, that kind of thing, because that really helps you. Sometimes when you write out all your thoughts, you realize that it's just all in your head and it's actually not that deep, and maybe you're stressing and worrying over something that it's not a big deal and can actually be dealt with very quickly. So writing it out can help, and writing out solutions as well. Think, for example, you write out what the problem is, and then you write out, okay, how can I deal with it, kind of thing, or look for solutions that you can apply, and then start applying those things that you know you could do instead of like to fix the problem. The situation. Sometimes obviously, like if it's a deep traumatic hurt, it takes time. It's going to take a long time. It's not going to just happen straight away.
And then that's when you might need that extra help.
But just journaling, writing it all out is always something that you can do, and it's actually really helpful as well. So
what else?
Anything else? Was there any other one that we thought like would be useful? Or
I reckon because you know people actually feel a lot better when they're doing something they actually enjoy, and even like things that you don't enjoy, like exercise as well. Sometimes not everybody enjoys exercise, but that's good for you. And I think maybe like doing recreational activities, like I guess listening to music, because I know that like when I listen to worship music, that helps a lot when I'm going through like a tough time or whatever. I know that people find comfort in expressing themselves through like art or whatever it is, really. All those things are helpful.
Sometimes you have to be patient with people, and you have to pray for them, because they're probably hurting. You just don't know. You know, everybody, this world is just messed up. Everybody just going through something. So sometimes people are just mean, not because they want to be mean, but like they're also going through something. So I think that's where that whole thing comes in. Like, you know, you have to see through. Like you have to see people through the eyes of Christ or something like that. So I had something like that. I don't know real thing, but like something like that. So like being a Christian really helped me to deal with some of these things. Because if I was not a Christian, I don't know what I could have done.
You don't know what you've been doing.
You know.
Definitely, man. But guys, that's pretty much it. Like that's our main like topic for today. I hope you guys gained something out of that, and I hope you guys kind of like, you know, whatever you're going through right now, just know that you might not be the only one. Like a lot of other people actually go through it as well, and seek help. Don't like just sit there and be like, no, I can just deal with it myself. And
don't be ashamed.
Like the most important thing, like we just were saying, like start to be aware of when you're acting out of character, or when you know something is like the way you behave, or if people are, for example, saying, why are you always so angry, or why are you always bursting out for whatever reason, like really try to identify what could the problem be, like trace it back, what, like,
and a lot of the time, Harriet, that's actually not even hard. Like you will know certain behaviors that you consistently keep doing because of whatever reason. You might not know the reason, but you will know the behaviors, and you have to, like you said, you have to be like aware and pretty much like, you know what,
man,
like this isn't right, I have to change this.
Like if something's not right and you feel it in yourself, you're like, okay, this is not right, like start to actually change and be like, no, I can't be doing this all the time,
because it's most likely hurting you too.
Definitely,
you know? Apart from hurting other people, it's most likely hurting you too.
Yeah, for sure, man. But anyways, that's pretty much it, guys.
A bit serious,
a little bit serious, but we really just want to kind of like reach out to everyone, that people that just might be struggling or hurting, and I want you guys, man, like people that I feel like when we go through past hurts and like traumatic experiences, things that have happened to us, we don't actually understand that if we identify and actually look into these things and try to sort them out, they will not affect us anymore. Like if we like really like look into it and try to understand what it is,
people can heal.
We find that healing. We will find that healing later on.
Once you get out of that situation, you will understand why you went through it,
exactly,
and then you'll be able to help someone.
So true. So true, Lakadia. That's so true.
Guys, we need to find our healing. We need to find our healing, man. Like I want you guys to be whole and healed and well. So guys, I don't know, to be honest, just start from somewhere, man. I don't know where you might want to start. Just start from somewhere. You can start, like we were saying, just by self-awareness. Start to understand what's going on in your world. So but that's it, guys. So we're not talking too much. We're gonna end the video here. I want to thank these guys for coming on to the discussion. The discussion. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys in another video. So
okay, like, comment, and subscribe.
I'm like subscribe.
Give me a beat.
Thanks, guys.